My name is Brielle Hartman, and I'm 29 years old. Stability doesn't get flowers. Nobody sends you a thank you card because the mortgage drafted on time or because the utilities never got shut off. No one writes poems about the woman who remembers due dates, updates passwords, and keeps the fridge stocked with real food instead of energy drinks and takeout sauces. But that's who I am. I'm the stability person. I'm an accountant by day and, apparently, a full-service life support system by night. The condo I live in, my condo, came from my grandfather. When he died, he left me enough to buy a 2-bedroom unit in a building that still smells faintly like old carpet and new money. I signed my name 100 times, framed the deed, and promised myself I'd never be reckless with what he gave me. So when my boyfriend Liam moved in 8 months ago, it felt generous, mature. We'd been together almost 2 years. His lease was up. Rents were outrageous. I owned my place outright. It made sense. We had an arrangement. I covered the big stuff: mortgage, HOA, property tax, insurance. He paid $400 a month toward utilities and groceries. I don't want to feel like I'm freeloading, he'd said, kissing my forehead. This way, we both contribute. At the time, it sounded fair. On paper, anyway. It was a Tuesday when everything cracked. 11:47 p.m., specifically. But the crack started a few hours earlier when I was standing at the stove stirring pasta. "Bree, you are an angel," Liam called from the kitchen table, phone propped up against his water bottle. Seriously, I was craving carbonara all day. He was working, which, in Liam speak, meant filming content. He called himself a creator, an influencer. Brand deals trickled in. Hair products, athleisure, the occasional gaming accessory. He made maybe $800 a month on a good run. I made more than that on a bad week. I plated the pasta, set his bowl down in front of him. "Hold up," he said, grinning at his phone. "This lighting is sick. Just keep stirring for a sec." I laughed, because that's what I did back then. He pointed the camera toward me, the girl in leggings and a faded college t-shirt, carefully tossing pasta in a pan like some low-budget cooking show. Okay, go," he said, tapping his screen. "You're good." We ate. He complimented the food. I did the dishes while he lounged on the couch, thumb flicking through endless notifications. It was a normal Tuesday in the life of a woman who thought she had everything under control. Around 11, I was in the bathroom, sitting on the closed toilet lid with my skincare half done, when my phone buzzed. Jake, my coworker. "Yo, you okay? Your boyfriend just posted something wild." There was a link underneath. My stomach did a slow, skeptical flip. Liam's content was usually harmless thirst trap stuff and day-in-the-life fluff. I tapped anyway. The video opened to my kitchen. My kitchen. I was in the background, exactly like he'd asked. Back turned, stirring pasta. The camera focused just enough to make me recognizable without putting me fully in frame. Across the screen, in bold white text, it read, "Date a woman who worships you. I train mine." The caption underneath made my mouth go dry. She cooks, cleans, pays for literally everything, and never complains. Gentlemen, set your standards high and train them early. Soft life, healthy relationships. The sound was some trending audio about being treated like a king. The view count at the bottom glowed, 67,000. Comments were still climbing. I scrolled. "Yes, king," one of his friends wrote. "Where do I find one?" "Training complete," another commented with a crown emoji. Someone else, "You got that girl on a leash, bro. Teach me your ways." I felt my face heat, even alone in that bathroom. I kept scrolling, fingers suddenly clumsy. One comment asked, "How do you train her, though, for real?" Liam had replied, "Praise when she does good. Cold shoulder when she slips up. Works every time." I read that once. Then again. By the third time, the words blurred. Praise when she does good. Cold shoulder when she slips up. Somewhere in the back of my head, a college psych lecture stirred. Pavlov. Conditioning. Bells and salivating dogs. I thought about the times I'd come home late from closing the books at work and grab takeout instead of cooking. How he'd gone quiet, distant, barely spoken to me until I made his favorite meal the next night. I thought about the month I pushed back on adding him to my car insurance because money was tight. He'd pouted for days, made little jabs about how partners should support each other. When I finally caved, the coldness disappeared. Praise when she does good. Cold shoulder when she slips up. My throat tightened. I sat there, on the toilet lid, in sweatpants and half-applied moisturizer, while my boyfriend explained my entire relationship to strangers in a TikTok caption. He wasn't just joking. He believed it. He saw me as something he'd trained. "Bree," Liam's voice floated from the bedroom. "You good in there?" I swallowed. "Yeah," I called back. "Just a sec." My voice sounded almost normal. That scared me. I took screenshots. All of it. The overlay, the caption, the comments, his reply about training. My finger shook only once. When I walked out, he was already in bed, propped against my pillows, blue light from his phone painting his face. "Night, babe," he said, not looking up. "Night," I answered, sliding under my side of the comforter. I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling while his breathing evened out beside me. The condo hummed quietly. The fridge, the muted city outside, the faint buzz of the building's ancient pipes. In my head, numbers lined up the way they do at work. Mortgage, HOA, insurance, utilities, groceries, streaming services, his gym membership, his phone line on my family plan, his student loan payments when he came up short. Line after line of expenses with my name on them. Every nice thing I'd done replayed. Making his coffee how he liked it, ironing his shirts when he had a brand call, picking up snacks he loved just because, the way he lit up when I did it right, the way he went cold when I didn't. Praise when she does good, cold shoulder when she slips up. I realized, with a cold, creeping horror, that the video wasn't an exaggeration. It was a confession. By 3 a.m, my eyes burned. My chest felt tight enough to crack. The old version of me, the one who believed in talking it out, in giving the benefit of the doubt, wanted to shake him awake and demand an explanation. Make him see me. Make him fix it. The woman staring at the ceiling did something different. She got calm. A strange, icy calm. The kind I get when a client's books are a disaster and there's no room for panic, only process. Fine, I thought. If I'm trained, I can untrain. I turned on my phone screen again, thumb hovering over the screenshots folder. Evidence. Documentation. Numbers and words. Things courts understood, even if TikTok didn't. I made a decision. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't throw plates or cry into his chest while he apologized just enough to keep the free ride going. I would be methodical. I would save everything. I would stop doing anything I didn't actually want to do. And I would treat my life, my home, my money, my time, like what it was. Mine. Around 4, my body finally gave up and dragged me into a few hours of fractured sleep. When my alarm went off at 6:30, Liam groaned and rolled away from the sound. I got up mechanically. Shower, clothes, hair in a quick twist, concealer over the shadows under my eyes. In the kitchen, I made coffee. 1 mug. I added oat milk and a little vanilla syrup, exactly how I like it. The second mug I usually prepped for Liam stayed on the shelf. He patted out a few minutes later, hair messy, t-shirt wrinkled. "Morning," he said, leaning over to kiss my cheek. "Where's my coffee?" I took a slow sip of mine and set it down. "Coffee maker's right there," I said lightly. He blinked. "Yeah, but you always—" "You're 27, I said, not unkindly. "You can figure it out." The smile slid right off his face. "What's your problem?" "No problem," I said, grabbing my bag. My heart pounded, but my voice stayed calm. "I'm just running late. See you tonight." I walked out, leaving him standing barefoot in my kitchen, staring at the empty space where his mug usually waited. That was the first tiny fracture in the training. I didn't know it yet, but by the time I walked back through that door, I wouldn't just be Brielle the stable, reliable girlfriend anymore. I'd be Brielle, the woman who stopped worshiping a man who thought he owned the altar. And Liam? He was about to find out what happens when the person you train decides to bite back. The thing about being an accountant is this. When the emotional part of your brain short-circuits, the logical part steps in with a clipboard. By the time I got to the office that morning, the shock had cooled into something sharper, focused. I answered emails. I fixed a reconciliation error from last quarter. I walked someone through why their miscellaneous category couldn't be 40% of their expenses. I did my job. But every time my mind wandered, it went right back to that text overlay. Date a woman who worships you. I trained mine. Around 11, I pulled up a different kind of file. The folder was called Liam Move In. I'd created it the week he came over with flowers and a hopeful smile, asking, "What if I just didn't renew my lease?" Inside was a simple Word document I'd drafted, a month-to-month living arrangement. Not a formal lease, but a written understanding. I'd insisted on it. He'd laughed and said, "You and your paperwork," before signing. I scrolled through. Agreement. Liam Jones may reside in the property owned by Brielle Hartman on a month-to-month basis. Either party may terminate this arrangement with 30 days written notice. I read that paragraph twice. 30 days. I switched tabs and opened our state's landlord-tenant website, then another site, then another. I wasn't looking for loopholes. I was looking for clarity. Was he a tenant? Or a guest? My phone buzzed on my desk, a text from Liam. "Oh, we're in a mood this morning, lol. We good?" I stared at it, then turned the phone face down and dialed a different number. "Mark Adler," my cousin answered on the second ring. He was a lawyer, the family's go-to for quick questions that were never actually quick. "Hey, it's Brielle. You got a second for a hypothetical?" He chuckled. "Whenever someone says that, it's never hypothetical." "Humor me," I said. "Say someone is living in your place. Market rent would be, I don't know, $2,200. They're paying $400 a month toward utilities and groceries, no formal lease, just a month-to-month agreement that either party can end with 30 days written notice. Are they a tenant or just contributing?" He was quiet for a beat. "400?" he repeated. "That's barely a fraction." "Hypothetically," I said. "Hypothetically," he said dryly, "that sounds less like rent and more like a guest helping with expenses. Courts look at the totality, but with that little, it leans contribution, not tenancy." "So," I said, heart picking up, "hypothetically, you could end the arrangement with 30 days' notice, and you wouldn't be committing some kind of illegal eviction? As long as you follow your own written terms and state law? Hypothetically, yeah," he replied. "But, Brielle, are you okay?" I swallowed. "I'm just curious." "Uh-huh," he said. "Curious with that edge in your voice. If you need me, don't hypothetically call, okay? Actually call." "I will," I said. "Thanks." After lunch, I finally flipped my phone over and opened Liam's text. "We good?" My thumbs hovered. "Not yet," I typed, then backspaced it. "Too generous." I settled on, "We're not talking about this over text." I hit send and went back to my spreadsheets, feeling the faintest flicker of power slip back into place. That night, the condo smelled like garlic and rosemary. I'd roasted chicken and vegetables, just enough for one. When I heard the front door open, I plated my food and sat at the tiny dining table. "Bree," Liam called. "It smells insane in here. What did you make?" "Dinner," I said, cutting into the chicken. He strode into the kitchen, still in joggers and a hoodie, hair perfectly messed for the camera. His eyes landed on my single plate. "Where's mine?" he asked, confused. "I didn't make extra," I said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. He laughed, waiting for the punchline. "Okay, but seriously." "Seriously," I echoed, chewing. "There's stuff in the fridge, or you can order something." His brows knitted. "I don't understand. You always cook for both of us." I set my fork down, finally meeting his eyes. "Trained behaviors," I said softly, "can be untrained." The blood drained from his face so fast it almost fascinated me. He opened his mouth, closed it again. "You saw it," he said. "I saw a lot," I replied, "including your little masterclass in how to train your girlfriend." "It was a joke," he said quickly. "You know how TikTok is?" 67,000 people seemed to think it was serious enough to comment, I said. "And then there was your reply about praise when she does good, cold shoulder when she slips up." "That part didn't sound like a joke, Liam. That sounded like a strategy." His eyes flashed. For a second I saw irritation, not remorse. "You're being dramatic," he said. "It's just content. People exaggerate. You know I love you." My chest squeezed. "Do you?" He hesitated. "Of course I do. Babe, come on. I bragged about you. I was saying how amazing you are." "You bragged about what I do for you," I corrected. "You bragged about the fact that I cook, clean, pay for literally everything, and never complain. You bragged about training me to do it. That's not love, Liam. That's a dog owner proud of his tricks." His eyes shone suddenly, tears welling up on command. I'd seen them before. The "I'm so sensitive" tears. The "you're hurting me by calling me out" tears. "I didn't mean it like that," he whispered. "I was just trying to be funny, to keep up with trends. I didn't think you'd take it so seriously. I'll delete it, okay? I'll delete it." "Is it deleted now?" I asked. He blinked. "Well, no, but I can—" "Then you're not sorry," I said, standing with my plate. "You're sorry I saw it." I took my dinner to the couch and turned on the TV. My heart was pounding hard enough that my hands shook, but I didn't let him see it. He stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "So what, you're just done cooking for me?" he asked. "The trained girlfriend," I said, settling in, "is retired." He spent the rest of the night sulking in the bedroom. I ate my dinner, loaded my single plate into the dishwasher, and pretended the tremor in my fingers was from the cold, not from fear. On Thursday, I started counting. I pulled out my banking app and went line by line for the last 6 months. Groceries, about $500 a month. with maybe 100 reimbursed from him on a good month. Streaming services, 60. His gym membership, 85. His line on my phone plan, 45. Car insurance with him added, 120. His student loan payments when he couldn't swing it, 200 a month for the last 4 months. Every time I hit calculate, a new number appeared, bigger and uglier. I'd been subsidizing his life by roughly $1,800 a month, not even including the free roof over his head. She cooks, cleans, pays for literally everything. He hadn't lied. He'd just left out the part where he bit the hand that fed him. That night, he tried a different tactic. I was typing at my laptop when he came up behind me, hands finding my shoulders, thumbs digging in just enough. "I missed you today," he murmured in my ear. "Can we talk about this? I really am sorry about the video." "Is it deleted?" I asked without looking up. He hesitated. "Well, no, but I can—" "Then we're not talking," I said. "You can delete it first. Then maybe we can have a conversation." "It's not that simple," he snapped, dropping the soothing act. "It's performing really well. If I take it down now, the algorithm—" "Got it," I said, nodding. "So you're weighing the algorithm against my respect." I closed my laptop. "Congratulations," I said, standing. "You just answered your own question." He stomped down the hall. 15 minutes later, I heard his voice on speaker with someone, probably his best friend, complaining that I was overreacting and trying to control his content. I sat there, watching my reflection in the black TV screen, and felt something inside me crystallize. I was done asking for respect. I was going to insist on it. Friday morning, I checked the video again. Views, 103,000. Still up, still monetizing my humiliation. I didn't text him. Instead, while he snored softly in the bedroom, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and drafted an email. Subject: notice to vacate. Liam, this letter serves as 30 days notice to terminate your month-to-month living arrangement at address. Your last day of occupancy will be date. Please ensure all personal belongings are removed from the premises by this date. Brielle. I read it twice. It was simple, clean, professional. My hands shook only once when I hit send, to his email, CC'd to my personal archive. Then I picked up my phone and typed a text. 30 days notice. You need to find a new place. Email sent with details. I hit send and set the phone down. It vibrated less than 2 minutes later. Are you freaking serious? Then, call me right now. Then, you can't just kick me out. This is my home too. I have rights, Brielle. Answer me. I waited until lunch to respond. At my desk, between a budget review and a cold cup of coffee, I typed, "You have 30 days. Use them." No explanation, no essay, no apology. When I came home that night, the building's hallway felt heavier than usual. My key slid into the lock, and a prickle crawled up the back of my neck. The door swung open. Liam was on my couch. Next to him, perched like she owned the place, was a woman in a stiff blazer and a permanent frown, the older version of his face. His mother. "We need to talk," she said, standing up as if it were her living room. For the first time in a long time, I smiled. "No," I said, dropping my bag on the console. "We really don't." Liam's mother, who I will forever refer to as Momzilla, stood in my living room like she had birthed not just her son, but the furniture too. Her eyes raked over me, arms crossed tight enough to snap her own ribs. Liam sat beside her, shoulders hunched, attempting a wounded puppy expression. It probably worked on people who didn't know he could weaponize tears like a trained skill. I shut the door behind me with a quiet click. "We need to talk," Momzilla said, chin raised, voice dripping with self-importance. "No," I replied calmly, "we don't." Her mouth fell open, offended in a way only someone used to being obeyed could be. "You can't just throw my son out of his home," she snapped. "Over some silly video." "Not his home," I corrected. "Mine." Liam stood abruptly, frustration spilling over. "Brielle, why are you doing this? You're being insane." Insane. Funny how that word only comes out when you stop being convenient. I set my keys on the counter. "Liam, I gave you 30 days notice. It's in writing. Legally sound. Professionally sent." "You blindsided him," Momzilla screeched. "He pays rent here. You can't just evict someone who pays rent." "He pays $400 toward utilities," I said, keeping my voice level. "Market rent is $2,200. What he pays is a contribution, not rent." "That is the same thing," she barked. I offered her a tight smile. "It's legally not. I checked." Liam stepped forward, voice cracking exactly where he wanted it to. "Please, Brie. Come on. I'm sorry, okay?" I deleted the video. He held out his phone, screen open to a blank TikTok page. I glanced at it. "Great. You deleted it after 100,000 views and after I sent the eviction notice. His face twisted. Seriously? Nothing I do is enough? You're right, I said quietly. Nothing you do now erases what you did before. Momzilla planted herself between us like a linebacker protecting her quarterback. After everything he's done for you, supporting your career, being there for you emotionally, I laughed. Actually laughed. Liam's eyes widened at the sound. It wasn't my usual laugh. This one had teeth. Supporting my career? I repeated. Your son makes $800 a month on TikTok sponsorships. I've been paying for his car insurance, gym membership, phone line, groceries, housing, and student loans. You tell me, what exactly has he done for me? Momzilla sputtered like a broken faucet. Liam looked away. You are being vindictive, she hissed. No, I said, slipping off my coat. I'm being done. Her nostrils flared so hard I thought she might take flight. Where is he supposed to go, Brielle? She demanded. You're putting him out on the street. He has 30 days, I said. That's more than fair. And if he can't afford a deposit, or movers, or furniture, what then? I shrugged. That sounds like something he should have considered before he made videos bragging about training his girlfriend like a dog. Momzilla let out a shrill gasp, hand flying to her chest. I have never been so disrespected in my life. You should get out more, I said. Her jaw dropped. Liam's head whipped toward me, stunned. I didn't care. I want you out, I said, pointing to the door. You can't talk to me like that in my son's home, she barked. In my home, I corrected again. And yes, I can. I opened the door. She stormed out with the dramatic flair of a soap opera actress. Liam lingered, lower lip trembling. I really am sorry, he whispered. No, I said quietly. You're sorry the consequences found you. He flinched. He stepped out. I shut the door behind him, leaned my back against it, and let out a shaky breath. My heart thudded against my sternum, adrenaline buzzing through my veins. But I didn't cry. I didn't collapse. I felt steady for the first time in weeks. Saturday morning, I changed all the streaming service passwords. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO. The notifications popped up almost instantly. Seriously, Brie, are you kidding me? You're being petty. I ignored all of them. Sunday, his phone line was next. I logged into my carrier account and removed his number. It was mine. I'd added him 6 months ago when he said he couldn't afford his own plan. 5 minutes later, he appeared in the doorway of the bedroom, clutching his lifeless phone like a wounded animal. My phone doesn't work, he said, horrified. Correct, I said, brushing my teeth. You're off my plan. You can't do that. I can, it's my account. How am I supposed to have a phone? Verizon opens at 10, I said, wiping my mouth. Good luck. He went rigid. You're ruining my life over a stupid video. No, I corrected, walking past him. I'm stopping paying for your life. He followed me down the hallway, voice rising. You're unbelievable. I can't get a new phone plan right now. I don't have the money. That sounds like a you problem, I said. You're heartless. You trained me that way, I replied. Cold shoulder when you slip up, right? He stopped dead. One of the ugliest silences I have ever heard filled the condo. Monday morning, he discovered he was no longer on my car insurance. He stormed into the living room, breathless. I tried to drive to my friend's house, he said, fists clenched. I don't have insurance. Correct, I nodded. You'll need your own policy. That's like $200 a month. Sounds about right for a 27-year-old. I don't have $200. Not my concern. He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. Who even are you? He whispered. I smiled faintly. Untrained. The rest of the week unfolded like a parade of manipulation. Monday night, he tried seduction. Lingerie, candles, soft music. I was reading in bed. Not interested, I said. He froze. You're serious? I'm done performing for praise. His face fell into something ugly. Tuesday, his friends showed up. A whole intervention. Friend number 1. She's devastated. You're being cold. I learned from the best, I replied. Friend number 2. Relationships are about forgiveness. And respect, I said. She had none. Friend number 3, his best friend. You're really gonna let 2 years end over your fragile ego? I laughed. My fragile ego? He posted a video about training me like a pet. Wednesday, he tried the guilt trip. I can't afford first month, last month, and deposit anywhere. You're leaving me homeless. Maybe you should have gotten a real job instead of making TikToks, I said. Content creation is a real job. Maybe, but my fake job is the one that's been paying all your bills. He sputtered, red-faced. Thursday, Momzilla returned, with backup, his father. Dad tried his stern, adult-to-child voice. Brielle, I think you need to reconsider this decision. I'm not your daughter, I said. I'm your son's landlord. Liam's cheeks flamed scarlet. My daughter deserves better than this treatment, his father insisted. Your son treated me like a convenience, I replied. He gets consequences. He should try them. Dad's jaw clenched. You'll regret this. I shrugged. I doubt it. They left in a storm of indignation. Friday. The nuclear option. Liam tried claiming squatters' rights. Actually tried to legally argue he couldn't be removed without a court order. He waved articles at me from TikTok attorneys and Reddit threads. I pulled out the signed agreement, the 30-day notice, and put my lawyer cousin on speaker. Mark dismantled him sentence by sentence. When it became clear he couldn't win, Liam cried. Hard. Ugly. I have nowhere to go, he sobbed. You have 22 days left, I said. Figure it out. Saturday morning, I walked to my car. My stomach dropped. Deep scratches carved down the entire driver's side. Paint gouged. Metal warped. I stood there, breath caught in my throat. Then I went upstairs, opened my laptop, pulled up the security footage from the building. There he was, 2:07 a.m. Hoodie, keys in hand, scratching my car like a toddler throwing a tantrum with a crayon. I called the police. The officer who arrived had the weary eyes of someone who'd seen too much stupidity in one lifetime. You want to press charges? He asked gently after watching the footage. Yes, I said, my voice didn't shake. Absolutely. They went to speak to Liam. He admitted it. He's ruining my life, he'd cried. No, the officer reportedly told him. That's destruction of property. That's a crime. He spent 6 hours in county before Momzilla bailed him out. I filed for a restraining order that afternoon. Sunday morning, 18 days before his deadline, he moved out. Momzilla and Dad brought a U-Haul, loading every scrap of his belongings. He lingered in the doorway as they finished. I really did love you, he said softly. I looked at him, at the boy who weaponized dependency and called it affection. You loved what I provided, I said. That's different. That's not true, he whispered. Your TikTok said otherwise, I replied. You bragged about training me. That's not love, Liam. That's exploitation. Tears filled his eyes again. How many times do I have to say I'm sorry? Until you mean it, I said, which you don't. He left crying. Momzilla shouted a dictionary's worth of insults at me on her way down the hall. I closed the door, locked it, changed the locks that afternoon, even though my hands were shaking the entire time. I thought it was over. I was wrong. So wrong. For 3 blessed days after Liam moved out, my condo was quiet in a way I hadn't felt in months. No passive-aggressive sighs in the kitchen, no clattering of protein shakers, no ring light buzzing in the living room at midnight. Just silence, warm, undisturbed, mine. I should have known peace was not going to last, because on day 4, my phone lit up with a notification. Liam Jones official just posted a new TikTok. I froze. Against my better judgment, I tapped. The video was filmed right outside my building. Liam looked into the camera with his softest, most wounded expression, one he usually saved for when he wanted me to forgive him for something unforgivable. The text overlay read, POV, she kicks you out for one joke. The caption, when she makes you pay your own phone bill to teach you a lesson. Toxic people always reveal themselves. I blinked, then blinked again. The comments rolled in fast. OMG, are you okay? She sounds abusive AF. You didn't deserve this, King. Red flags everywhere. Run. He didn't say my name. He didn't have to. He filmed the damn building. I reported the video. But it didn't matter. The algorithm was already chewing on it. By that evening, he had posted 3 more. One with him carrying a box dramatically. Leaving my abuser's house. Pray for me. Hashtag toxic relationships. Hashtag healing journey. Hashtag strong men cry too. The second, when the person you loved stops cooking for you and kicks you out with no warning. Hashtag financial abuse. Financial abuse. I laughed out loud. A sharp, humorless sound that bounced off my condo walls. The third video was worse. It was a montage of him looking sad, like a budget heartbreak music video overlaid with text. When you were nothing but loyal, but she used you and threw you away. Comments exploded. This is why men don't open up. Women like her ruin relationships. She's disgusting. She's a narcissist, 100%. Half of his followers had transformed into amateur psychologists overnight. But the other half? They weren't buying it. Someone had posted in the comments, "Didn't you literally post a video saying you trained your girlfriend? Where is that video?" The dam cracked. Another comment, "There are screenshots, don't play dumb." Another, "I saved the video, posting it now in stitches." Then, "Bro, you said cold shoulder when she slips up. Explain that." I sat back slowly. The internet was turning into a courtroom, and the jury was split. 2 days later, I was at my desk when my phone rang from an unknown number. "Hello? Ma'am, this is Officer Delgado with the City Police Department. We received a report from a Mr. Liam Jones stating that you have stolen several of his personal belongings. My head dropped into my hand. Of course. Officer, I said calmly, I have video footage of him moving every one of his belongings into a U-Haul with his parents. Time-stamped. Security camera. Would you like me to email it? A pause. Yes, that would be helpful. I emailed it. Case closed in 15 minutes. But the irritation? That lingered. 2 days after that, he escalated. A certified letter showed up at my mailbox. Small claims court filing. Liam was suing me for $5,004. Stolen MacBook Pro. He has only ever owned a $300 Dell. Designer jewelry, eh? Emotional distress. Lost potential revenue due to removal from housing. I stared at the paper for a long minute before calling Mark, my lawyer cousin. He laughed so hard he choked. Tell him to bring receipts, he managed between coughs. Court was scheduled the following week. In court, Liam wore his most tragic expression, supported by Momzilla in a blazer 2 sizes too tight and a frown that could curdle milk. The judge seemed tired the moment he saw them. Liam launched into a speech about how I cruelly took advantage of him and stole his belongings and emotionally manipulated him. When the judge asked for evidence of his stolen items, Liam said, "He bought them for me as gifts." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Do you have proof of purchase?" Liam gestured vaguely at me. He should prove he didn't buy them. That's not how burden of proof works, the judge said, rubbing his eyes. Momzilla slammed her palm on the table. This is typical. The system protects women who manipulate men. The judge pointed a gavel at her. Ma'am, one more outburst and you'll be removed. It took 30 seconds for the case to be dismissed. Outside the courthouse, Momzilla cornered me. This isn't over, she snarled. We'll appeal. Mark didn't even look up from his phone. You can't appeal small claims, he said. But good luck trying. We'll counter with harassment. Momzilla sputtered. Liam sulked. I went home and reheated leftover pasta. But Liam wasn't done. The following week, my boss emailed me. Subject line, concern. My heart dropped. I walked into his office and he closed the door. So, he began awkwardly, we received an anonymous complaint claiming you've been abusing company resources and displaying volatile behavior toward women. I almost laughed. Of course. The next step in the narcissistic X playbook. I laid out everything. Screenshots. The original video. The comments. The eviction notice. The court case. Security footage of my keyed car. The police report. His eyebrows rose more and more with each page. Jesus Christ, he muttered. Okay, I'll document this as investigated and baseless. Sorry you're dealing with this. Me too, I said. 3 days later, things got worse. It was Saturday. I was on the community basketball court with coworkers, sweat dripping down my back, the sun hot on the concrete. Then I heard it. Everybody needs to know this woman is an abuser. I turned. Liam was striding toward us, phone held high, recording. Everyone froze. This woman kicked me out and left me homeless, he shouted. She's toxic. I pulled my phone from my pocket, opened the eviction email, held it toward the camera. 30 days notice, I said calmly. Dated, stamped, sent professionally. You cut off my phone, he barked. That I paid for. You canceled my insurance. That I also paid for. He was sputtering now. You're twisting everything, he yelled. One of my teammates, 6'4", former linebacker, stepped beside me. Dude, he said, voice low, leave before we call the cops. Liam went pale. He backed away, still filming, still ranting, but visibly shaken. He didn't come back. That night, my phone buzzed. It was Jake, my coworker whose warning had started all this. Hey, so, I think something big is about to happen. My girlfriend, Tara, who used to be Liam's best friend, told me something and said you need to know. My stomach tightened. They're planning to file a false domestic violence report against you. His mom is pushing hard. They think it'll ruin your reputation before the truth comes out. They're planning to do it this weekend. I sat very still, very calm, too calm. Okay, I said aloud to no one. Okay. I texted back. Thank you, I appreciate it, truly. Then I called Mark. We're done playing defense, I told him. His voice sharpened instantly. Good, he said. It's time we go on offense. And for the first time in weeks, I felt the floor steady beneath me again. When someone tries to burn your life down, you eventually stop asking why the fire started. You grab the extinguisher. That's what the next week became. Not a reaction, not a defense, a counterattack. A quiet, methodical reclaiming of my own life. Mark and I met Sunday morning at his office. His suit jacket was off, sleeves rolled up, coffee steaming in a mug that said, "Trust me, I'm a lawyer." I handed him a folder thick enough to serve as a doorstop. "This is everything," I said. "Screenshots, videos, texts, police reports, the car footage, statements, even the dead roses." He flipped through the pages, nodding slowly. "Brielle," he said finally, "you have enough here to bury him 6 feet under. And his mother, if she keeps sticking her neck in." "Good," I said. He typed for nearly 2 hours straight, drafting, refining, sculpting the beginning of a lawsuit that would hit like a freight train. We filed it that Friday. Hartman versus Jones, harassment, defamation, property damage, and intent to file false police report. We listed $2,300 in car repairs, emotional distress, legal fees, false police report filing, frivolous lawsuit, workplace interference, online defamation, stalking and harassment, threats, defamatory TikTok smear campaign, the dead roses delivered to my workplace, the planned false domestic violence claim with witness statement from Tara, damages requested, 15 and plus legal fees. Mark filed it with a clean, cold satisfaction that made me want to hug him and high-five him at the same time. Liam got served Monday morning at his parents' house. Apparently, Momzilla answered the door, according to Tara. She started screaming before she even opened the envelope. Good. She'd built this mess. Now she could wade in it. Within hours, Liam's bargain bin lawyer called Mark. "My client would like to settle," he said. "No," Mark replied. "We'll see you in court." "He doesn't have 15,000, the lawyer argued. "Then he should have thought about that before harassing my client." Click. Of course, Liam didn't take it quietly. He posted another TikTok that afternoon. Tearful, soft lighting, sad piano music. "My ex is suing me for being heartbroken. I was nothing but loyal." 890,000 views. The comments started sympathetic, but not for long, because the internet never forgets. People began stitching his video with receipts. The original I Train Mine TikTok, screenshots of his comments, clips from his own smear campaign, footage of him screaming at the basketball court. Someone even compiled a timeline comparing his claims to actual evidence posted by others. The comments turned vicious. "You are the abuser. You literally bragged about training her. Delete your account. Sir, she should sue you. She gave you 30 days notice. My landlord gave me 3. Financial abuse? Bro, she was your entire sponsor." Within 48 hours, the tide had completely turned. His lawyer, God bless that man's soul, quit the case. Just withdrew, leaving Liam panicked and Momzilla red-faced. By Friday, a new lawyer contacted Mark, a real one, a man who had clearly read the entire case file and decided he was not dying on this hill. "We'd like to discuss a settlement," he said. Mark and I met them Monday afternoon. Liam sat across from me, pale and shaking, eyes swollen. Momzilla beside him looked like she wanted to claw my face open with her nails. The lawyer cleared his throat. "After reviewing the evidence," he said carefully, "I believe my client will face significant losses if this proceeds to trial. We propose the following. He drops all social media content about you, issues a public apology, pays $5,000 over 24 months. You withdraw your lawsuit." Mark looked at me. I shook my head. "My client rejects," he said immediately. "Here is our counter. $10,000 paid over 12 months. Public TikTok apology and written statement. Admission that he lied about abuse. Complete removal of all videos referencing her. Permanent no contact. No further harassment from him or his mother." Liam's lawyer sighed. Momzilla exploded. "She's extorting him. She's ruining his life." Mark didn't blink. "Your son keyed her car, filed false reports, harassed her workplace, stalked her, and attempted to fabricate a domestic violence claim." Momzilla froze. Her lawyer turned slowly toward her. "I'm sorry, what?" Liam swallowed hard. "She's lying," he gasped. But his face said everything. His lawyer leaned back. "If this goes to trial, you could be facing not only civil damages, but criminal charges." Liam broke. "I'll do it," he whispered. "Fine, I'll do it." Momzilla sputtered beside him. "Absolutely not, Liam." He didn't look at her. He signed. The next day, his apology went live. A shaky, defeated Liam looked into the camera. "I need to address false statements I made about my ex-girlfriend, Brielle. I lied about abuse. She never abused me. I created false narratives because I was angry about our breakup. I'm sorry for the harassment, the accusations, and the damage I caused. She acted within her legal rights. I take accountability." I watched it twice. Not for satisfaction, for closure. The comments were brutal. "This is embarrassing. Bro, Delete your whole existence. You're the reason therapy exists. So you lied about abuse because your girlfriend stopped cooking? Blocked. Within 24 hours, he made his account private. 2 days later, he stopped posting entirely. Liam got a part-time retail job. He moved back in with his parents permanently. Momzilla occasionally posted vague Facebook rants about fake people, but she never mentioned my name again. Because the payment plan, she co-signed it. If Liam skips a payment, her credit dies with his. Not my problem. I didn't want his money anyway. So each month, when $803 arrives in my account, I transfer it straight to a men's shelter program for victims of financial and emotional abuse. Let the universe balance itself. My condo is peaceful again. My plants are alive. My refrigerator holds actual food instead of energy drinks and half-eaten protein bars. I take a solo trip to Seattle. Coffee shops, hiking, breathing without walking on eggshells. And then I meet someone. Ethan. We meet in a bookstore, because apparently the universe has a sense of humor, and somehow he genuinely loves that I alphabetize my home library. He has his own apartment, his own job, his own life. On our 4th date, over iced coffees, he asks why I flinch when someone brings up social media relationships. So I tell him, all of it. The TikTok, the training, the eviction, the smear campaign, the lawsuit. I brace for judgment. He laughs. Your ex, he says, shaking his head, is an idiot. For training me? I joke weakly. For thinking you'd stay. My breath catches. He squeezes my hand. You deserve someone who respects you, he says simply, not someone who sees you as a convenience. Something in my chest cracks open, quiet, warm. Not pain, relief. A month later, I run into Liam at the grocery store. He looks small, thinner, duller. Phone screen cracked. Uniform from his retail job wrinkled. He sees me. Drops his gaze instantly. Turns down another aisle. Momzilla follows, pushing a cart, her face twisted into a scowl. She sees me, opens her mouth, then closes it. The monthly payment reminders are keeping her quiet. I grab my cart, turn, walk in the opposite direction. Light, untouched, unbothered. When someone tells you who they are in a 30-second TikTok caption, believe them. Liam told the world he trained me. He was right in a way. He trained me to recognize red flags. He trained me to stop excusing disrespect. He trained me to choose myself. But he forgot something important. Trained animals don't stay tame when they realize the door of the cage is open. I walked out. He remained trapped in the life he built. A loop of entitlement, consequences, and monthly reminders that his actions cost him more than he ever imagined. As for me, I don't want a man who worships me. I want one who respects me, one who stands beside me. One who sees me as a partner, not a pet. I found her, the version of myself who finally learned the difference. And I'm not losing her again.